Hello guys, welcome to Saras Craftshop. Today's task, we're going to transform this dull looking photo frame into a cheerful looking one. And what do we need for today? We need just simple items. We need a photo frame, of course, and we need some gesso, some decorative paper, some stencils. We need some paints like the watercolors and some acrylic paints. We need some glue to stick the embellishments. We'll be using embellishments, which is going to be some clay and some wooden today. And these are the items that we will need for today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Come on.
So here is a photo frame that we are going to experiment today. I purchased this one from IKEA. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the backside of our frame. We are just going to work with the central part of the frame. I'm going to flatten up the steel flanges here. And keeping our frame just neat and ready. Now to begin with, we will start with adding gesso. Here I got gesso from my local market, and I'm going to apply a very thin layer in the beginning, and after I apply it, I will just dry it up with my heat gun. Now I'm making sure that the paint is applied very thinly and distributed evenly, because if you find that there is blobs of paint here and there, what happens is once it is dry, the paint can just peel off. So I've applied a second layer as well here. Now once this step is over, what we are going to do is we are going to do our next step, which is called the decoupage technique. Now I have a nice flower design here. It's a normal paper, and I'm just going to apply and going to tear this and placing it on my frame randomly. I'm going to glue this down using my gesso again, and on top of that I'm just going to add a little more gesso to cover it up. Now why do I add the gesso? Gesso is just like a primer here, and once it is dry, it gives a very slight texture to allow other paints and media to stick onto it. So here our gesso is being applied, and I'm completing up my decoupage technique here. So after this step, we are going to use our stencils here. Now I got a few stencils from Tim Holtz and TCW. So in this step here, I'm going to add our modeling paste here from TCW. Now what happens when you apply the modeling paste? Modeling paste, when it dries up, it gives a slight embossed effect on of the paint here on our frame. So here this is a stencil that is from Tim Holtz, and I'm applying using my spatula. I'm just applying it evenly. Any excess that is found, I scrape it off again. This is a stencil from TCW. So it's just very random. There is no rules as where I need to place it. I'm just placing it randomly. Now once this is done, I'm going to add some colors for our project. So in this I'm using some watercolors, and the colors that I'm using is yellow ochre, vermilion, then there is lemon yellow, and then the last color that I'm using is the crimson color. These paints, I need a yellow and orangish look as my final paints, so that's the reason why I'm mixing up these paints here. And I'm also spritzing some water so that it becomes light. And using a bit I'm using tissue here so that I can lift off some of those colors here and there, so that my the paints that I've used for my modeling, the stencil patterns that I've used, I just want to show it up on my frame. So I'm just lifting up those colors using a normal tissue, not a wet tissue here, just a normal tissue. And now I'm going to use another stencil. This is again from Tim Holtz. So I'm stamping this here using some black acrylic paint. I'm using a sponge here to do my stamping. Again, I'm just randomly using it on my four corners here. Now I'm using one more stencil here. This is a leaf stencil, and I'm using white acrylic paint here. It gives a very light smudge on our photo frame. I don't want it to be too visible. Now once that is done, I'm going to have a distress effect. What I'm using here is a charcoal chalk, and I'm going to just blacken up the edges of our frame so that gives that grungy look. Okay, and the outside of the frame and the inside of the frame, both the sides, I'm just blackening it up. I'm also I'm just applying a little bit of chalk on my fingers and just rubbing it onto that embossed textures. Now this is a 2-part resin. I'm going to use this. It dries up very quickly, so that's the reason why I'm using it. And I'm using these resin to glue up my clay elements. So I'm going to mix it up really very well, and I'm going to apply it very quickly as well, because if you keep it for a little more time, it dries up very quickly. So I'm using my bamboo, the clay bamboo sticks, and I'm just going to apply the resin here evenly. You don't have to wait for the bubbles to go off, because this is the purpose of this resin is just to glue down your elements, so you don't really have to wait for the bubbles to go off. So 3 bamboo sticks on one side of my frame. So I have my 3 bamboo sticks here. Now I have my bamboo stick and the panda here, and he will go on to the other side of my frame. And I have my other pandas here. I've got a little black paint on this panda, and this one is going down of my frame, and my last little panda is going on the top of the frame. Now this is an Inka Gold lava red that I'm using here. I'm just spritzing some water because my paint is a little dry. So I'm just going to apply this on my wooden embellishment. Here I'm using the heart, and I'm using the crackle essentials here. It gives when you apply it, it gives a kind of resin look, but when it dries up, it gives a nice crackling effect. I'm using a Fevicol here to glue down my heart embellishment and other embellishments that I'm going to use. I'm just going to use my Fevicol for the gluing purpose. Now this is the paints that I got from Art Alchemy. So the paints that I'm using here is Magic Pond and Violet Gold are the two colors that I'm using here. So this is my butterfly, or you can say it's a moth, and I have a tiny butterfly here, and the tiny butterfly gets the violet gold. Again, using the same crackle essentials, I'm just going to apply it on my butterflies. And I'm applying the Fevicol here on my butterfly, and this is going to be on top of my bamboo sticks, and the small one I'll be keeping it on top corner of my frame. Now I have some perfect pearls here, and I'm going to just put a few drops randomly, very randomly. These are a few pearl decorations that I have. I got this from my Gesso. So again, using the Fevicol, I'm just going to glue it down. I just want to give it a paw kind of shape here. So if you see that, it's been I just give it three small ones and one large pearl. That is what I've been using here. So that is done, and I'm going to use some more on the side. So that's it. The experiment is done, and this is how a blue color photo frame has been completely changed into a funny looking thing with all the pandas here and there. So the time that I took to complete the entire project was just 60 minutes. The project was just about the frame. So if you want to see how I made this panda and the bamboo sticks, I have put in the description, put in a link in the description box below. So that's it for this week's tutorial. If you enjoyed watching the video, please remember to give a thumbs up. Any questions you have, please drop it in the comment box below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell for more videos. Thank you all, and I will see you on my next video. Bye bye.